This is Phaedra Cook, editor and publisher of Houston Food Finder, and tonight I am very pleased to be working with some phenomenal ingredients from DR Delicacy. Tonight I actually get to work with a fairly hard to find meat these days, and it is one of the richest, most delicate to be found, and it is Osso Buco from veal. And I want you to take a look at how beautiful these are. Deeply red, very thick, and these come from DR Delicacy. It's actually really hard these days to find veal Osso Buco in grocery stores, so it's nice to be able to just go to the DR Delicacy website and order these. And like I said, I couldn't even find Osso Buco in the grocery store. I did find veal chops, and I just wanted to give you a comparison of the difference between grocery store and these beautiful Osso Buco from DR Delicacy. This is DR Delicacy, this is grocery store. I mean, you can see this is deep red, beautiful, thick, and this is about maybe an inch. This is 2 inches. So, well worth ordering, well worth buying. The recipe that we're going to make tonight is actually really simple. Osso Buco sounds like it's really fancy, and it tastes fancy, but with the Instant Pot, it's not that hard, and you can really make this as a weeknight meal. It really is impressive. It makes great leftovers. Important to gather your ingredients or do your mise en place before starting to cook. That is my all-purpose flour for dredging. I have gathered my fresh thyme, which came from my own herb boxes, and rosemary sprigs, and bay leaves. So this is one of the few bits of prep I have to do, and that is chopping it off. And then we're going to make cuts not quite down to the root, because we're counting on the root of the onion have to hold things together. Smash them, and I'll get the papery skins off. And then when I chop garlic, I treat it pretty much like an onion, and that lets us get a very pretty even chop. And if you want it finer, you can do that, but for this application you can do a rough chop and it's perfectly fine. We're going to dredge these, and we're going to let them just sit around for a bit, and make sure when you dredge them, get all the sides. Because what we're going to do after this is we're going to brown them. And as much as I love the Instant Pot, one thing that I don't think that it does particularly well is browning or sauteing. So we're going to do this in cast iron because I just like it. I think it works better, and it's certainly faster. And when you're cooking on a weeknight, faster is good. You hydrate these porcini mushrooms. First thing we're going to do is rinse them. I'm actually going to use 2 bags of these porcini mushrooms because we've got a significant amount of veal. And again, the goal is lots of umami, but the first thing we're going to do is rinse these. And then while we're prepping everything else, these are going to soak. I've already got a kettle of hot water prepared, so we're going to just hydrate the mushrooms. And they're going to sit around while we're prepping everything else for approximately 30 minutes. Time to get some extra flavor out of the Osso Buco by getting a nice browning on them. Just use regular olive oil for this. Don't use the special lemon rosemary finishing oil. So after about 3 minutes, you're going to want to turn your Osso Buco. These are good and thick. Only because they're so thick, and you can. You can stir them a little bit on the sides too. I'm all for a little extra browning. So when you're satisfied with how much browning you've gotten on your Osso Buco, go ahead and remove them to a plate. If you don't have an Instant Pot, you can still totally make this recipe. Just pause the video and read this procedure. Here are the beautiful Parisian style carrots going into the Instant Pot. They are already peeled. They're beautiful. They can just go in frozen. There's nothing else you need to do. Then you add the mushrooms, include the liquid that you've soaked the mushrooms in to soften them up. This is a mix of both the regular tomato puree as well as the jarred Catrice Gourmet dried tomato paste. It's basically a sauce made from sun-dried tomatoes, and it's going to give the sauce a lot of extra depth and umami. Important note here, make sure the Osso Buco is on top of the veggies, because if the meat sinks to the bottom, the Instant Pot might throw a burn notice at you. In fact, the first time I tested this recipe, that's what happened to me. One of the cool things about the Instant Pot is it plays a little song at you until you have got the lid seated correctly. Cook on high pressure for 40 minutes. That might seem a little long for tender veal, but in this case, these are the hindquarter portions, and we want to break down all that connective tissue. Make sure the pressure vent is closed. When the Osso Buco is about 10 minutes away from being done, go ahead and saute the haricots verts. Now mine did sit out a bit, so they were already a little bit thawed. And season however you wish. These are very tender green beans. I don't think they need much. If you want something a little fancier, saute a little onion and sun-dried tomatoes ahead of time. Very important safety points. Keep your hands away from the pressure valve. That steam will burn you. I use the back of a wooden spoon to open it. And do not try and open the Instant Pot until the hissing has stopped and the pressure is completely released. And look at this. This is just, it's so easy. It's so beautiful. Look how it's so tender. Literally, I just picked it up out of the pot and it starts falling away from the bone. It's very tender. And it's a crowd-pleasing dish. And don't leave the little carrots behind, but do scoop out as much of the solids as you can, because now we're cooking the lentils in the cooking stock, and it needs a little more liquid. I added 2 cups of chicken stock here because what was left in the pot wasn't quite enough. You may have to eyeball it, but basically you want about 2 cups of liquid for your lentils. And instead of gremolata, which is traditional, I'm just giving it a little drizzle of that lemon rosemary oil. It does not make it too oily. It's just beautiful and vibrant. And then you plate. And you make people happy. By the way, I forgot to plate the lentils for this video, but trust me, they were tender, delicious, and needed no extra seasoning because the seasoning was in the pot. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you give this easy recipe a try. Do check out the DR Delicacy website. They have a ton of ingredients, and every kitchen needs some fun things to play with. Take care.